And we are live. Tuesday, July 26th. Welcome to the LeoFinance weekly AMA.
AMA of July.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Last one in July.
Another month gone, more than halfway through the year.
I got to mute on Discord. Yeah, this month flew by. This month really flew. I feel like this whole year is flying by. Just in general. I mean, it's pretty crazy how fast 2022 has been going.
Oh yeah. I should unmute in the Discord. Boom. Now everyone can hear my clickety clacks as I write a recap in real time.
But yeah, there's been plenty to talk about lately. Let's start with some Leo updates as people kind of fill in. Well, I just posted the announcements. Yeah, let's jump into some LeoVerse updates. So there's been a lot, like just a pretty crazy amount of development. As I've always said, I was waiting the entire bull market. I was waiting for the bear market because I knew that devs get lazy and it's hard to hire new devs. It's hard to onboard them and get them to be interested in working, because obviously, when crypto number goes up, a lot of devs want to take a break. They don't want to work as hard. Most of them wanted to cut their hours back. So a lot of devs, were working barely full time, and it was hard to find new ones. We still did, though. We onboarded last year, a bunch of new team members. But since Bitcoin basically dipped below 30K, I've noticed that a lot of devs have actually been reaching out to me, asking me if there's work to be done. And obviously there's plenty of work to be done. So we've been able to work on things, a lot faster and roll things out. And I think that's becoming pretty obvious with the POLYCUB V2 rollout. So we released, the V2 vaults, the multi-token bridge, governance, Vex POLYCUB, POLYCUB improvement proposals. So it's been pretty cool to roll all that stuff out so quickly. And then obviously, if you notice, over the weekend we rolled out, actually yesterday we rolled out the V2 vaults on CUB. So I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, that was a stealthy CUB update, because it was intended to be obviously not a stealthy update. It was designed to be a launch on Monday and be like a big deal and have some big announcements go out. But the reason why we kind of stealth launched it was because of the HBD pump, which I'm sure we'll also get into. So that HBD pump basically caused a lot of people to sell their HBD and sell their liquid hive, knowing that it was kind of a temporary thing. And obviously now HBD has returned to its peg. So now that it's returned to its peg, we're going to have our launch event. Probably tomorrow we'll throw out all the announcement posts. But knowing that so many people dumped their liquid HBD and hive because of that pump, we kind of just delayed the actual launch event. So we did a soft launch of the vaults, because basically the way it works is that we've got a time lock contract on CUB and POLYCUB. So when there's an update for anything, it has to be queued into this time lock. And all of this stuff was queued in the time lock. The devs were all lined up. The UI was all lined up. I didn't want to delay the launch and then have to kind of reorganize everything. So we did the soft launch with no announcements. If you missed it, we also launched a new version of Leo Bridge. So that's the wleo.io website, which obviously now has a major update, because we've got 2 more assets that you can bridge across to Binance Smart Chain or BNB Smart Chain. So it's pretty cool to see all these updates go live. It's several months worth of work just kind of coming together quickly and being rolled out. So it feels good to have those V2 vaults out. So I mean, I feel like I'm just kind of rolling into this CUB update. So the CUB V2 update is basically 3 phases. So phase 1 is to release the V2 vaults with BHBD, Beehive, And the three pairs are BHBD-BUSD, BHBD-CUB, and Beehive-CUB. So those are the three new vaults, and they're already live. So you can go over there and stake them, and you can bridge over using wleo.io. And that it's really kind of a similar rollout to the POLYCUB v2 update. So obviously we released the PHBD and Phive and PSPS. We released those, and then we started releasing governance, and we started releasing Vex POLYCUB, and then the POLYCUB improvement proposal system. So that same kind of v2 rollout structure is going to be for CUB. So we're releasing, or we did release the multi-token bridge for CUB. We released BHBD, Beehive, and then next phase is going to be, some of those governance features, and then a variable staking contract for CUB, which is super interesting. So I'm pretty curious to see what happens when all that stuff's rolled out to CUB. The key right now is that we've got these V2 vaults going, and we need to seed liquidity in there. Once those announcements go live, I think it'll be a mad dash to add liquidity. I think the APRs are like 500% still. So if you want to get the early bird APRs for paying attention and being at the AMAs, go jump in there. So that's really how all that's going. I saw some comments and I saw some posts people made about the CUB v2 update and asking questions and stuff like that, because we didn't have any announcements. So, one of the big questions was what's going to happen with all that multi-token bridge revenue. So obviously on POLYCUB, we've got Vex POLYCUB staking, where users can stake POLYCUB for 2 years, and then they get paid a fixed 20% APY paid out by the multi-token bridge and by protocol and liquidity. So basically the multi-token bridge earns revenue. It takes that revenue and then it buys POLYCUB, and then it distributes that POLYCUB to Vex POLYCUB holders. On CUB, we don't have that. Instead, the multi-token bridge revenue will buy CUB and burn it. So CUB is a burn proposal, or not a burn proposal. CUB is a burn system. I was reading MyFreeBTC's comment while I was talking, but it's a burn system versus POLYCUB, which is a redistribution system. So it's kind of interesting to see those two contrast each other. MyFreeBTC asked, can we get a pip on CUB DeFi to up those fees? We actually just the fees are already 0.5%. So we just copied the same fee structure as POLYCUB. I think it's pretty obvious that that's a better fee structure than having lower fees. We want to burn as much CUB as we can, and the same way we want to buy as much POLYCUB as we can and distribute it. So the fees are 0.5%. I think the UI still needs to be updated though, so it probably says 0.25%. And yeah, so it'll be cool to get assets bridged over. So obviously Hive and HBD getting bridged over is extremely bullish for CUB, and we're going to focus on growing those vaults and increasing the multipliers on the HBD and Hive vaults on CUB. So that's where that's at. Outside of the DeFi stuff, there's probably one of the most awaited and most anticipated features of LeoFinance, and in terms of our entire ecosystem, is the launch of LeoThreads or Project Blank. LeoThreads is not Project Blank, but it kind of is at the same time. So LeoThreads is essentially all of the development work we've done for Project Blank, but being released on top of LeoFinance, kind of as a feature addition as opposed to a separate platform. Reason for that is that we're both, and I've put out tweets and posts about this, but the reason for that is that we're both testing the infrastructure that we've built, and we're also adding a new feature to LeoFinance. So it was always intended that we were going to build Project Blank and then also add microblogging as a feature on LeoFinance, but we kind of reversed the roadmap and said we're actually going to release the feature on LeoFinance first and scale up our architecture and infrastructure and basically kind of launch it and then see how it performs with a few hundred people using it, and keep adding to our infrastructure and obviously making it better. And then Project Blank will come after. So LeoThreads is essentially Project Blank. So, if you've been waiting to microblog on the Hive blockchain, You've been waiting for, a real microblogging platform where you can make, 100 tweets or threads, as we're calling them, per day, and not have them be top level posts, and really make, really change the way that you use Hive on a daily basis. LeoThreads is what you've been waiting for. So I'll share a little teaser for everybody since you showed up for the AMA live. So I've been sharing little teasers on Twitter as we've kind of been polishing the UI and getting it ready for launch. But I just dropped this screenshot in Discord, showing the Threads UI and how it looks. So you can see a lot of cool stuff happening there. It looks very similar to Twitter, almost identical. It's kind of a Leofied Twitter, if you really look at it. So you've got on the right, you've got the trending topics, and it shows you essentially just a list of the hashtags that people are using in Threads. And then it shows you how many threads were created with that hashtag. So then that's how you get the trending order of it. And then, on the left, you got the Leo tokenomics. So you can see how Leo's performing. Right now it's at a $800,000 market cap, which is pretty insanely low. I don't see any other $800,000 market cap projects releasing their own version of Twitter. And then obviously you got the upvote and the reply buttons. So yeah, Nifty's saying he loves the interface. I'm a huge fan of the interface. We really went for making the interface as simple as we could, and kind of keeping to that Twitter functionality and feel. We wanted the UI to really be, if you've ever used Twitter, you could instantly just log in and start using LeoThreads and have no really barrier to entry, because you've got a familiar experience. So that's really the design behind it. It's very identical to Twitter, not exactly, but very close. So yeah, I'm excited to roll it out. We've been working on Project Blank and LeoThreads, since it's kind of the same thing in a lot of ways, for probably about 18 months now. So it's a lot of work has gone into Leo Infra, Lightning, and getting all this stuff rolled out, getting all the infrastructure ready. So I'm happy and a little relieved. It feels like a big burden when this goes live. I feel like it'll be like that, showing that we've got that one step closer to Project Blank that we've all been waiting for. And I see a bunch of people commenting, it'll look better on night mode. Yeah, so it's got night mode. So here's a little screenshot of what that looks like. I haven't really tested night mode that much, but it's looking good. I actually prefer light mode, but yeah, Nifty likes it. Yeah, night mode looks great. Really looks like Twitter when you switch to night mode. But yeah, microblogging on Hive. I think everyone's been waiting for that. I know I have, and I'm really the only one testing it right now. I've had a few people kind of come in and help me test a few things, but it's really just me. So I've been making a bunch of these threads, and I've just been replying to myself, and I'm still having a great time, even though I'm just talking to myself. So I'm excited to have everybody on it. And I think, when you look at like things like ad revenue, so this kind of ties into the DeFi stuff with the multi-token bridge revenue. As the bridge gets more usage and the pools get more liquidity, the platforms POLYCUB and CUB generate more revenue, which is obviously bullish for those tokens. In the very same way, as LeoFinance generates more ad revenue, we have those buybacks and the that Leo ads distribution model. LeoThreads is probably going to raise that revenue through the roof. I think that's going to be what we're all looking at is the page views and the ad views and the ad clicks that we get through LeoThreads is going to be a lot more. I think it's going to be exponentially higher than the page views and ad views that we get on normal posts. Reason for that is that whenever you click on a thread, you see another ad. And whenever, I think every 6 threads that you scroll through, you see an ad. And then obviously on the left, you see an ad. So the ad views are going to be huge. And I'm, it's going to be interesting to track the ad revenue increase from this. LeoFinance started, if you go back through history, LeoFinance started as a simple, fork of Condenser. We basically had, a fork of the steemit.com interface. And that's all that LeoFinance was. It was called Steam Leo. And, we launched the Leo token, and it was just super simple. The idea was to become a decentralized seeking alpha, or a Web3 seeking alpha. And then, over time, we've evolved into this whole ecosystem. So now we've got, LeoFinance, we've got CUB, we've got POLYCUB. Then we've got all of the other apps that support our ecosystem, like HiveStats, LeoDex, LeoFi, all these different apps. So and then more recently, we've released the Leo mobile app. So it's pretty crazy to see how far we've come. And then now to release microblogging, I think is going to flip kind of the entire use case of LeoFinance on its head. And we're going to say, now if you want to be a LeoFinance power user, you don't have to be like Taskmaster and make, 5 high quality articles a day. Instead, you could make, you can come in and use it like Twitter, use it exactly how you use Twitter, and still earn Leo, still engage with the community. So watching a few key metrics like, monthly active users and ad revenue is going to be super interesting to watch play out. It's a total game changer in my opinion. And I think most people agree. If you look around on Twitter or on LeoFinance posts, the amount of times you see when project blank is incredible. So this is what everyone's been waiting for. So it's cool to see it come out. And then Marco said, is it soon or soon with 3 O's? It's very soon. It's been upgraded to very soon. I think I said last AMA or the AMA before that I'm hoping to have it done and rolled out to the community by the end of July. So by August 1st, let's see if we can make that happen. As you can see from the screenshots though, it's done. Right now we're just doing testing, some minor bug fixes, like a bug fix we were working on today was when you uploaded an image, it would like cut the screen off. So we were working on that. So it's just little tiny bugs like that we're fixing before we roll it out. And then as everybody here knows, when we roll out this new technology, there's going to be a lot more bugs that you guys find. So when it does come out and we've got hundreds of people testing it, make sure that you open bug reports on Discord if you find anything, and we can fix it quickly and keep updating it and making sure that the user experience is good. So yeah, it's awesome to see it come together. Super simple UI. The UX is identical to Twitter, and mobile looks great. I think the Leo mobile update will be a little bit lagged behind the LeoFinance.io update, but you will get it pushed to your Leo mobile devices too, if you've got the app downloaded on Android or iOS.
Yep.
Senior Coconut said, I don't know how to use Twitter. If you don't know how to use Twitter, it's actually very simple. You just click tweet, write a couple sentences or a sentence, and then that's it. You hit publish. There's, the big difference between using something like Twitter and using something like a Medium, basically short form versus long form, is that, with short form, it's a lot more forgiving. You can make, grammatical errors. You can write something short. You can even just post an image. You don't even need, see, that's the cool thing. You don't even need text. You could literally make a Leo thread and just have an image or just share a link to an article. It's very forgiving. It's very non-tribal. A lot of people don't like that about Hive, is that you have a lot of tribal issues. Yeah, so microblogging changes that entire dynamic, and you still earn rewards. So
I'm looking forward to it. And there will be an edit button?
yeah, because everyone's wanted an edit button on Twitter forever.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. As of right now, there is no edit button. You can edit it though. If you're a savvy Hive user, you can definitely edit it if you do it manually. But as of right now, no edit buttons. I think we'll add one though. I don't know. I don't really see why not.
Awesome. all the updates, all the things happening.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is a crazy time. We've onboarded a lot of devs, and we've made just a ridiculous amount of progress in a very short period of time. So it's like I said, it's really cool to see it all come together. I haven't been sleeping much these days, but it's fun when it sucks when you're working on things and then devs don't show up or they don't want to put in too many hours and things get delayed. But in this bear market time, my phone is around the clock 24/7 blowing up from the devs, always ready to do something, always ready to work on something. And that's when we make, if you look back at the last bear market in 2018, that's when we make a lot of technological progress. So Morty asked what's in the 3-dot menu on those. It is I'll share it with you. That's where the downvote button is. It's under those 3 dots. And then there's share button, obviously. I guess I'll show that too. So we created a lot of new things, a lot of new frameworks for this UI. And you can see them here, like things like the share button and stuff. It opens obviously all those different social media links where you can share out your thread on Twitter, which is cool. So then you can, I've talked about this a few times, in a cool, in like an ideal world, a lot of people who use Twitter, and a lot of us Hive users, we basically use Twitter to promote Hive and promote LeoFinance. It would be cool to see if a lot of people start using the Threads UI to create tweets, and then it obviously goes out as a thread, and then you just hit the Twitter button, and then you can share it as a tweet too. So now you get the benefit, you get the best of both worlds, where you're using one UI, but you're posting both to Threads and to Twitter. So yeah, exactly. Morty's saying make a thread and then share to Twitter. Yep. So make a thread, then you can share it to Twitter. You don't even have to edit it. It'll be exactly the same formatting and everything, and then you're good to go. Yeah, we need an auto tweet feature, Nifty said. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know when we're going to do that, but it is on the roadmap, so that you would create a thread, and then if you've authorized Twitter, it would automatically post it to Twitter too. And obviously when you post, and I think we're going to make it so that there's going to be, I'm kind of deciding this in real time, but I think we're going to make it so that when you have that auto tweet feature, where it posts both to Threads and Twitter, we'll make it so that you can choose in your settings. We'll make it so that you can choose in your settings whether or not you want to link back to the threads. So.
All righty, we got a couple of other questions. Earlier, my FreeBTC asked about what caused the delay on the POLYCUB halving.
Oh yeah. Well, the last halving, I think, was like the 23rd of June and 22nd of June. And the reason for that is, we talked about it last month, but essentially one of the halvenings went through a lot earlier than it should have, like almost an entire month earlier. So we were actually sitting at I think it was 0.5. We were sitting at 0.5 POLYCUB for almost a whole month when we should have been at 0.25. So then we basically had to push back the halvening after. Yeah, and then we pushed back this halvening too. So I'd have to check the blocks. I don't know what block we set it to, but we basically set the next 2 halvenings to be 2 separate blocks that were slightly staggered out. Yeah, I can drop the link when I find it. But we basically set the blocks to stagger out so that we could get back to the intended inflation schedule. Obviously to make up for that. I think it was something like almost 25 days worth of time that we were at 0.5 per block and we should have been at 1. But but I think it's within like the next, because the last one was the 22nd, which means that this one should be within a few days of that one. So it's good. It's probably in the next like 2 days, if I had to guess. I see a comment from Alexis CP.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, so I was checking the account that has HBD for BSC and it only has 7,200 HBD. Do you plan to increase that liquidity over time, or is the idea that liquidity is provided by the users? So when the way the bridge works is that when users bridge HBD to BHBD, so they're taking HBD from the Hive blockchain and then wrapping it into BHBD on Binance Smart Chain. The way that works is that obviously when they wrap it, the HBD is held in that Oracle account until they unwrap it. So it's held one-to-one as in the Oracle account. And then the Oracle will actually stake a percentage of the HBD that it holds liquid. But that's kind of a separate topic. So the amount of HBD held in that Oracle account goes up as more HBD gets wrapped into BHBD. So let's just say over the next month, 200,000 HBD gets wrapped to BHBD. You'll see that the Oracle account holds 200,000 HBD in it, and then 200,000 BHBD is issued on the Binance Smart Chain side. So Morty asked an interesting question. So a thread is kind of a post on Leo and Hive, and when shared to Twitter with the Hive tag, it'll will Posh jump in too. It's you responded too, Mitch. It's threads are a comment on Leo. So no, there is a link back to Hive, but it's not a post. So I don't know how Posh handles comments. I'm going to assume that they don't index them. They only index top level posts, which would mean that your threads won't get picked up by Posh. If I had to guess, I'm not 100% sure though. I don't know if they have rewards for comments on Posh.
I don't even know what Posh is.
It's the proof of sharing. It's run by Acid Yo. They basically upvote people, and I think they have their own token. Yeah, they do have their own token where they distribute rewards to people who share links to Hive posts on Twitter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but that's for sharing Hive posts, not Hive comments. So I don't know if it'll work. If their system will index LeoThreads. Maybe they'll add it if they want to support it.
Yeah, it would be value add for sure.
Yeah. I saw someone ask what LeoThreads looks like on mobile. I'm going to drop that in Discord.
Nice. Yeah, I was just scrolling through to see if there's any other questions from earlier. But I think
you guys get all the alpha.
Alpha on the AMA.
So that's what it looks like. It's obviously kind of a small screenshot, but that's what it looks like if you open it up on mobile. So very similar to Twitter.
Nice.
Well, we kind of answered that, Morty. So it's LeoThreads is a feature add to LeoFinance, but it's all the features of Project Blank. And the intention is twofold. One is to obviously test all the infrastructure that we've been building for like 18 months. And the other is to add a new feature to LeoFinance, which I think is a game changer for us. People want short form microblogging these days. Look at the rise of TikTok. So it completely changes the dynamics of LeoFinance, because obviously all these threads earn Leo rewards. They can also earn Hive rewards too. But then obviously you still have Project Blank, which is kind of that more opened up microblogging that is a completely separate thing. But LeoThreads is Project Blank essentially. It's all the development work for Project Blank.
Yeah.
And then also this is, I don't know if you're talking about the mobile app, but this is also getting pushed to Leo Mobile. Yeah, Marco is basically saying, yeah. So if this works fine, Project Blank is basically just scaling it outside of Leo. That's exactly right. So it's basically taking all of this stuff and then just scaling up. That's basically a good way to put it. MyFreeBTC is asking about the bridge. Isn't the minimum 1 HBD requirement for the BSC bridge a little low, considering BSC fees are higher than Polygon? Yeah, I mean, the fees are higher, but at the same time, like if a user wants to bridge 1 HBD, that's, you know, that's up to them. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's point, but there's a minimum. So the bridge has a 0.1 minimum. So if you send 1 HBD, you can actually test it and see. If you send 1 HBD through the BHBD bridge, you'll only get back 0.895, I think, HBD. Or BHBD is what you'll get. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a 0.1 minimum. So if your transaction is small, then you get hit with that 0.1, which is obviously not great for the user. But you know, if we didn't have that minimum, then like you're saying, we could get spammed with 1 HBD transactions, and then the bridge would be basically paying out fees. So
Speaking of the Binance Smart Chain stuff, so the Beehive token, which is basically Binance Smart Chain Hive, like that's the description on the bridge, it says that. And then when someone goes to add that to their MetaMask wallet, it also dumps in that long name, which MetaMask says no to. So just manually, just manually erase and put in Beehive.
Yeah, that's a little annoying, but we missed that. It's just a naming thing, but still annoying.
Yeah. It's a little confusing. It's like Binance Smart Chain Hive. Like what? Who? But yeah, you just gotta add it to your wallet. Just manually type in Beehive. Does it say that for? I didn't even look for for BHBD. If it says
no, BHBD shows up as BHBD.
Gotcha.
For some reason,
then you're fine.
Yeah, you just have to change it from BNB Smart Chain Hive to Beehive.
Yeah, even on, I couldn't remember on the bridge if it set it to. Bridgie. Let's see what we got. Transfer native HBD to BNB Smart Chain.
So Nifty just asked, when Leo talk? Serious question though. Is there an intention to ever add a short form video feature like Instagram Reels? Also, what about a Twitter Spaces competitor feature? Yeah, those are good questions. So it would be really cool to do something like a Leo talk. You know, the way that I'm thinking about it is that, and we don't have anything concrete that we're working on in this direction, but you know, loosely speaking, the way that I would think about it is with LeoThreads, we're adding microblogging, and kind of similar to Twitter, it's very easy to add embedded videos into that. And I think I actually answered a question about this on one of the last 2 AMAs. I don't remember which one. But the plan is to add embedded videos. Like if you want to take a video from Twitter, copy the video address and paste it into a Leo thread, we want to make it so that it's embedded in that thread. And then you can view it as if you were looking at it on Twitter. Same thing for like a YouTube video. And then obviously we want to make that compatible with ThreeSpeak, so that, you know, potentially you could upload a video to ThreeSpeak and then make a Leo thread and embed that video into the thread so that nobody has to like go to multiple UIs to view things. Oh, Marco just posted this tweet.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty big if that's the case.
Yeah, so essentially with this Leo talk idea, I could see a future where maybe we collaborate with ThreeSpeak, because essentially in order to make that work, we need our own video hosting system. Obviously building that from scratch would be like building an entirely new platform, which would be crazy. So what I would rather do is do some sort of collaboration with like ThreeSpeak, and see if they can work with us to build a system where people can upload, like, let's say you could make a system where people could upload videos that are up to 30 seconds or 60 seconds at the max. And then we could work with them to make that compatible with LeoThreads. The key for that is that can people upload those 30-second videos without them having to be posted onto the Hive blockchain? So what we want to see is you can make a 30-second video directly from the LeoThreads UI. On the back end, that 30-second video is hosted on 3Speak's decentralized video storage system. And then on our front end, obviously it shows the video as kind of like a comment instead of making that top level post. That would be super cool though. I'd love that because, like people ask questions all the time about, the LeoVerse and all sorts of stuff. I would love to be able to just pick up my phone and make a 30-second clip answering it and post it on Thread. Let's see what this tweet is. Testing if Posh works on comments. Oh, this is from June. It does work. Wow, nice. Yeah, nice job digging that up, Marco. So I guess we have our answer then. So Posh already works on comments. So if you tweet out with the hashtag Hive, if you tweet out your threads, you'll get shared with Posh. So I guess that's good.
Solving problems live on the AMA.
Live and direct. That's what our third co-host would say.
It sometimes happens on 3Speak. I don't even know if I'm tagging Hive when I push things to Twitter, but that's also makes sense considering I asked what Posh was about 10 minutes ago. Honestly, the only stuff I post to Twitter is my LeoFinance posts. I just push them to Twitter. That's my only posts to Twitter.
Should we jump into some general market stuff?
Yeah, sounds like we covered all the LeoFinance happenings. And we're caught up on questions.
Yeah, so kind of the biggest news I would say in crypto right now is this whole Coinbase thing. It's
I didn't even know it was a Coinbase thing.
Yeah, so Coinbase is being investigated. Specifically, one of the employees is being investigated for insider trading.
Oh yeah, the insider trading. Yeah, no, I saw that. I thought you meant something, I guess, a little more broad based. Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty captain obvious that dudes were insider trading with Coinbase.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, shit, to the point where like I was like scouring my network to see if I knew anybody. Like, anybody know anybody that works at Coinbase?
Yeah, they were, I think everybody knew that. And then also their systems mysteriously went down in the moments of the best arbitrage. I always had an issue with Coinbase. And I think the first and last time that I got screwed over by Coinbase was when this was way back in the day, a couple of years ago. I was depositing crypto and I deposited it through Coinbase, and then I was going to send it out. It was like sitting in I don't remember what it was sitting in, but it was like Bitcoin or something. And my plan was to withdraw it out and like put it into Hive or obviously it was Steam back then, but put it into something else, put it into like an altcoin at like kind of an opportune moment. And obviously, like Bitcoin spiked or it went down a lot. I don't remember what happened, but Coinbase's whole system decided to go down at that worst moment possible. So my funds were sitting on Coinbase and I couldn't log in, couldn't withdraw, couldn't do anything. Then their system came back online and I could see the money, I could see the Bitcoin. But then when I tried to withdraw it, it said withdrawals are currently suspended, something like that. And I was like, okay, well, can't withdraw my money from Coinbase. So that was the first and last time I got screwed over, because from that point forward, anytime I had any funds on something like Coinbase or really any exchange, I would just immediately pull it back and withdraw it to a ledger some form of wallet where I had full control over it.
Yep.
Which is the #1 rule in crypto, not your keys, not your crypto. So if you ever
Exactly.
get screwed over by an exchange, I feel bad for you. I feel, empathy for you. But at the same time, I know that if you owned your keys, you wouldn't have that problem. So yeah, Nifty saying you don't forget it. Yeah. Yeah. Once you get burned once, you don't forget it. That's for sure.
Exactly. Well, there's a whole lot of people that have learned a lifetime lesson courtesy
Yeah.
of Celsius.
Celsius, Coinbase. Yep. All these platforms. What are some other good ones? I mean, it's
Voyager.
been going on forever. Look at like Mount Gox. That was forever
I
ago,
know that
right?
was like, yeah, back in the day, it was the first.
Yeah. I mean, this type of
It's
stuff
just
has been
baffling
happening since the
because
beginning.
you look at like sites, and they got like, a nice app and all that crap, and they look the part, and like, like Voyager, for instance. I mean, hell, I had the Voyager app on my phone, and at one point I had a little crypto on there. I personally hated their app, but regular folk were just looking at it like another Coinbase, crypto.com, whatever it is, and pretty much you got owned. So
Yep.
it's pretty wild. But the point of that is, what's annoying is that it gives crypto a bad name, because normies are like, oh, crypto's a scam. And I'm just like, your centralized exchange has nothing to do with crypto. Like, crypto's trying to solve that problem. It's like your centralized exchange you're on is what screwed you, not crypto.
Right.
But that doesn't matter. That's how they look at it now. And unfortunately, it's a lot of lost crypto investors. Many of them are never going to come back,
It's true.
because they're just going to look at crypto as this thing that burned them and they lost a bunch of money. When in actuality, it wasn't crypto that burned them. It was people that burned them. People that were running an exchange.
Yeah, it's speaking of exchanges, everyone's talking in chat now about Mount Gox and the redistributions happening. So a lot of people obviously had Bitcoin on Mount Gox and they lost it. But some of that Bitcoin was recovered and is being released. So I've seen two sides to this story. I've seen some people saying what Nifty's saying, definitely going to cause a dump, because basically Mount Gox, if you don't know, was an exchange back in the day. And they went under, and they were holding a bunch of Bitcoin for users. And that Bitcoin has basically been tied up in litigations, and now it's being released back to all those users. Obviously, when it got stolen, when it went under, it was a lot more money, or it was a lot less in terms of money and a lot more in terms of Bitcoin. And these days, it's a lot more in terms of money, because the price of Bitcoin has skyrocketed since then. So a lot of people think it's going to be a big dump. I've also seen the other side, that a lot of people think that it's both already priced in, or that the release of funds is not going to happen all at once. It's happening over a long period of time, and that will kind of absorb the liquidation. I've also seen that the numbers of I think someone said it was like someone correct me if I'm wrong. Someone said it was like $4 billion worth of Bitcoin total. And, the Bitcoin market is plenty big enough to absorb a $4 billion dump.
Yeah, I'm not.
And that's
honestly too
assuming that
concerned.
100% of the Bitcoin gets dumped, which
Exactly.
I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah, the Mount Gox thing, in terms of, that Bitcoin becoming available, is something that I never really paid much mind to, because like you said, I mean, even if 100% of people sold, which is not going to happen,
Right.
the market can pretty much handle it.
My free BTC said some big funds bought it from clients at a discount a couple of years back, so they probably won't dump. I actually didn't know that. That's interesting. He said allegedly. So
That's
interesting,
actually pretty
though.
genius.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
think
people
about it.
bought the
That's
debt basically.
Yeah, it's no different than people like, the same thing as the services that, buy people's settlements and things like that. Oh, you need cash now, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's a calculated bet. So let's just say, I mean, think about it. There's people that probably sold their Bitcoin for pennies on the dollar because either A, they needed the money, B, they just didn't believe they're ever going to get it back,
Right.
or C, they just didn't want to wait. So there's people that probably bought. That's actually genius. Hell, I wish I would have done that. I'll take that
Put out a
gamble.
big banner. Yeah. I mean, it's basically like a bond, right? You're buying it with the future promise of getting paid through litigation.
Yeah, it's anything else. I mean, you do the risk analysis, and obviously there's a scenario where you're going to get, a total loss, but the asymmetrical risk is there because they're probably buying it where it's like 5-1. It's like, I'll give you 20 cents on the dollar for your Bitcoin. So you either A, don't have to wait, B, get your money now, or C, don't have to worry about not getting anything at all.
Yeah.
Buying that debt, so to speak. My free BTC asked if I want to take that gamble on Celsius. Well,
70
one,
cents
I
on
actually have a
that.
personal friend that got wrecked on Celsius. So if I was going to do it, I'd probably hit him up first. And second of all, your price is multiples too high, especially considering the fact that unlike Mt. Gox, after they had the whole conservatorship and all that stuff, and there was actually, funds recovered that need to be distributed. I don't know if we're going to see any funds from Celsius. I mean, maybe after all the bankruptcy and they pay off the first tier creditors, maybe there'll be some peanuts left over for the regular folk. But yeah, my price is probably more along like 10 cents on the dollar, and I'd have to still do some research before I consider pulling the trigger on that. That's what my feelings is about Celsius.
Did you see that Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX, just bought Voyager Digital?
I did not.
So, or I guess it's a proposal. I don't know if it's, yeah, I think it's a proposal. I don't think it's a done deal. So, so here's the article. So basically, FTX, well, and Sam Bankman-Fried, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now. He is like the Warren Buffett of crypto. He's buying up all of these companies that are going bankrupt, all of this bad debt, kind of essentially what we were just talking about with the Mt. Gox stuff too. I mean, he's loaded up on cash, and now that things are crashing, he's able to buy things for pennies on the dollar. So he did a line of credit to BlockFi with an option to buy. And he's doing that with a lot of other companies in crypto. If you look at Voyager Digital, he basically made like this super low ball offer to purchase it, and I'm just kind of like looking at this, basically thinking that Sam Bankman-Fried's a genius, because he sat on all this cash and now he's just bailing all these companies out, and simultaneously supporting crypto while simultaneously probably going to make a ridiculous profit in the next bull run. But a lot of people are starting to look at the deals as, kind of like these like such low ball offers that it's almost malicious. But at the same time, if it's that low ball of an offer, why isn't anyone else stepping up to buy it for a higher offer? So I guess that's what you got to ask yourself is all that. So I think it's kind of funny when something like a Voyager says that that the FTX proposal is a bad deal, or that it's malicious in some way, because first of all, if you didn't run your company into the ground, you wouldn't need a bailout. Second of all, I only see one guy offering a bailout. So that's interesting. I saw a headline that the bailout for Voyager would not include supporting any people who lost money. So it doesn't pay any client funds back, which I don't know. Everyone can kind of frame that up how they want to.
So he's just basically offering to buy
Their
assets,
tech and infrastructure.
at a
Yeah.
discount.
Yep. I assume he would buy something like that, absorb the tech and infrastructure into FTX, and then, you know, repackage it in some way. Which, you know, if you know the history of Leo a little bit, you know, we've actually done that in some ways, you know, like with the Leo mobile app, buying basically a distressed project and then absorbing the technology.
I mean, that's the way to do it. People do that with businesses a lot. I've actually looked into that, where it's just like, why buy a business? Just buy a distressed entity that already has the infrastructure you need, and then create it, you know, into what you want. There's plenty of existing businesses out there that their only problem is that they're just extremely poorly run.
Yeah.
It has, like, operationally, it has everything you need. So why build it from scratch when you can buy something pennies on the dollar?
Right. Yeah, there's I'm actually talking to, I won't say who it is, but I'm talking to a project on Hive that had some really cool technology. They started building on Steam and then they moved it over to Hive, and you know, they haven't been doing that well. You know, I'm talking to them about potentially buying their technology, bringing it into the LeoFinance fold, and, you know, repackaging it and using it for our own purposes. You know, similar, exactly like what we did with Leo Mobile. Some very similar setup. But yeah, if you are a project owner on Hive and you have some cool technology, and I don't know, maybe you need something like what's being offered out there, just shoot me a DM. I've been looking into some stuff on Hive. This project reached out to me and asked me, you know, if I was willing to do some sort of deal with them, where Leo would buy their technology and absorb it. So it's interesting time in crypto. Like, I started this whole thing off, you know, this is the best time to be building, best time to hire devs, best time to acquire projects, best time even to buy into projects. You know, look at, you know, Rune and Thorchain, look at even Bitcoin, you know, CUB, POLYCUB, Leo, it's all hitting bottoms. And while it's hitting bottoms, the technology is moving even faster than before. And this is the cool cycle. So, you know, I'm sure this will turn into a cool clip. This is the very interesting and profitable cycle of crypto, where things do really well. You know, you have that bull market cycle where people are taking profits, everyone feels rich. Then you have the bear market, which inevitably comes. Things start going down, people start getting, you know, scared. You know, a lot of projects that you're invested in go down, you know, 98% in value. And then you're sitting there left holding the bag, and you're just thinking, you know, what am I going to do? And I think the smart people in crypto, the people who've become crypto veterans, learned to not just sit around and get out or sell at a huge loss. They learned to build in the bear market, and that comes in a lot of different forms. If you're a Hive user, which, you know, pretty much all of us here are, you learn to create more content, to engage more on the blockchain, to find ways to earn Hive in any form that you could. And doing that in the bear market is what then in the next bull cycle made you, you know, obviously generate a lot of wealth. And then you took profits and diversified or did whatever you did. And that's the cycle of crypto. The same thing applies to developers and projects, and even like FTX and what they're doing. You know, they made shit tons of money in the bull market, and then they took that money, held it as cash, waited for this to happen, and now they're buying companies and cryptocurrencies for pennies on the dollar, holding them on their balance sheet, and then in the next bull cycle they'll make another shit ton of money and they'll do exactly the same thing, and it just keeps ebbing and flowing. And I learned my lesson in 2018, and if you've been listening to the last couple AMAs, I've been doing exactly what I always talked about, which is I took a lot of profits off in the bull market. I have been holding them as cash and stable coins. And now, you know, now there's a lot of opportunities to hire devs, to absorb projects like Leo Mobile, to absorb, you know, projects that I'm talking to right now. Obviously buy back into Bitcoin and other cryptos. It's if you can follow that ebb and flow, and it's not about necessarily timing the market, it's about being smart and taking profits, you know, when things feel overbought. and then being smart and buying back in, but not doing it all at once and trying to time the market. It's about doing it slowly and methodically, which is just dollar cost averaging.
Yeah, I'm doing the slowly stack in the bear market model, which I don't know, maybe more than that needs to be done, but I guess in the end, I'm just an investor. So stacking the bear. I keep forgetting to sell on the bull though. I legit
You gotta sell. That's what Neil
I don't
will
think I
tell you.
sold
You gotta sell
anything.
at some point.
Well, you know what it is too. I looked at it this way. I just looked at it kind of like I do with my real estate, where it's like, I'm building assets to generate income off of. So since 90% of my crypto is staked earning yield, it's like, well, why would I ever sell it? Because I'm just going to ride it up and down, but the whole time collect income. So the only time I wish I would have sold is, well, twofold. One, if I sell high, then when it comes back down, I can obviously stack way more, right? Which therefore gives me an ability to earn more income, especially when things swing back up. So there's definitely that. That's I think the tactical / tangible difference. So that one, I guess, is somewhat of a regret. And then, the second one is more just emotional in that, yeah, you plan on holding it, but it's still never fun to look at your portfolio value and it be, a third of what it was a year earlier, right?
Right.
But yeah, definitely easier to stack if you sell some, in the high times, because then you can buy back that much more when things come crashing down. But, in the midst of it all, it's easier said than done. Hindsight's 2020. So
100%.
You can be selling, sell a good chunk of crypto, and then things keep going up. And you're like, just suffering, so to speak. Balance is the key.
Always balance, always dollar cost average in and out.
Yeah. My free PTC said, sell the cash flow, maintain the cash flow generating assets. That is a valid point, sir. I kept stacking the cash flow to build more cash flow, trying to get to that place where all is good.
Place.
Yes, the happy place. Go to your happy place. Greedy cat. When it comes to cash flow, I am greedy. When it comes to trading, I need to learn how to be greedy. I get out of trades way too quick.
I hear you.
NFT real estate.
Yeah,
when there's a market for it, when there's an NFT real estate to trade. That was, I did a post on that the other day about, real estate and NFTs. And I think it's a lot further off than people think in terms of being commonplace, but we'll see more and more of it. And, I can't wait. That'd be just so delightful. Transactions will be so much easier. And then we could crowdfund the crap out of stuff. I mean, we can create a Leo real estate initiative and, buy an apartment building, and essentially everyone can own pieces of it by just buying the, Leo RE coin.
Leo DAO.
USDC.homes. There you go. Leo REITs. I'm down. I'm pretty sure Neil will be in too. I mean, we already, briefly started creating a tokenized REIT with ag a couple years back. We ended up shelving that because everyone got busy with things. So I would totally be down for a Leo REIT. I got no problems taking the lead on that.
Yeah, it would be cool to see a Leo
REIT
REIT on multi-token bridge somehow. Be kind of cool.
That would be badass. Well, there you go. Leo Growth dropping in some alpha. That's right.
Yeah,
Your votes of
go.
X Poly on DeFi trackers.
Yeah, so if you don't know, Vex PolyCub is actually its own token. But it's really just a derivative where you can obviously enter and exit the Vex PolyCub pool, same way that you can enter and exit the X PolyCub pool with the X PolyCub token. So with that addition, we need to list Vex PolyCub on all these platforms again. So if you are here, make sure you click those links and upvote Vex PolyCub so that it gets listed on all the different trackers. I'm a big fan of DBank. Obviously, I use DBank a lot. It's awesome.
I legit just upvoted on DBank because that's what I use. So we only got 2 votes. So get the DBank folks and vote it up. I know everyone uses DBank, even like my quote unquote normies, they use DBank also.
DBank is cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna save this link because tonight I'll have the guys vote on it too when I do my the mastermind call. Coolness.
Sweet.
Damn, time flies. We've been going
we're already over an hour.
Over an hour. Wow, that's funny. Felt like it was a little slow for a hot minute, but then things picked up. But yeah, anyway, a lot of good stuff came down the pipe. A lot more coming in soon.
100%.
In the meantime, I guess, I mean, probably the last thing we should talk about before we wrap up, considering tomorrow's Fed day, and we got GDP numbers coming up soon too, right? So I personally feel like I missed it because, I mean, hell, we're down, Bitcoin's down over 1,000 points just, in the last like 12 hours or whatever. So yesterday I got busy, but I was looking at potentially putting on a short hedge leading into all that stuff. But I'm like less enticed now that it would already been 1,000 points in my favor. And that we're closer down to that support level. Obviously, we can go down to 19K. So he's still talking about 2,000 points. But so yeah, I was going to hedge a little bit into all this stuff. But at this point, screw it. I'll just wait to buy dips. I just keep playing it one-sided. But sweet. My free BTC got his votes in. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm I think it'll be interesting to see the Fed meeting. And I mean, obviously the market's expecting it to be pretty bad. But I feel like especially with the last one, everyone expected the market to tank, but then we kind of recovered after. So I feel like it's more of a, sell the rumor, buy the news event. That's just kind of how I've been feeling about it. I think the sentiment, whenever you look, crypto is really just a more intense version of the traditional broader markets. So, I think in that sense, people are afraid, like very afraid right now. And it's all about uncertainty. And then when, numbers come out of any kind, even when they're as bad as everyone expects them to be, the market kind of rallies because people are relieved that the uncertainty is gone. And now there's a certain figure. And that's, that's kind of the figure that everyone expects, even though it's a bad one. Just the fact that it's there and real and tangible and over, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like when you give a speech, like, if you were in school and you had to give speeches and, leading up to that speech, you're like super afraid and you think the whole world's going to end. And then while you give the speech, you're just kind of like in your zone, you give the speech and then it's over and your level of relief is huge and you knew exactly what was coming. But that was the real detriment to you was the event. What was the idea of the event, not the event itself. So we're in this very event-driven news environment where every little piece of news is causing people to be uncertain and scared. So my free BTC thinks that we're going to see a 100 basis point hike followed by negative GDP growth. But yeah, exactly. So like people are expecting,
expecting, yeah,
exactly. And I think what happens is that people are expecting it and thinking that the speech is going to be worse than it actually is going to be. So we all know what's coming.
So the GDP number comes out Friday morning. I mean, honestly, I'm not like, I don't have a ton of conviction that that number is actually like, put it this way, if that number beats expectations, I actually would not be surprised. I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be a bad number. As far as the Fed tomorrow, I mean, if they do a 100-point hike, I'd be baffled, but who knows? I mean, they finally had the nuts to do 75. So
Didn't the expectations right now are what? Like 100, aren't they?
oh, I
Or
thought they were
close?
for another 75.
I thought they were 75, and then more recently people raised expectations to closer to 100.
It could be. I haven't really been keeping up on it of late, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's at the end of the day, whether it's 75 or 100, does it really
It's all about the
matter?
expectations.
Right.
you know.
It's the people leading up to it's sentiment leading up to the event, not the event itself, that really
Yeah, it's
matters.
like what's baked in. It's like, obviously the stock market had gotten a little bounce, but then, down Friday, down today, Monday was pretty much, flat. But I
Yeah, my
think,
free BTC, it's crazy to see it 1-to-1 with the euro.
oh yeah, the dollar's been like an awesome trade. If like the last, like not even less than 2 months, like
Yeah.
25% gain, just the dollar soared against everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think
I may buy this dip today. I've been actually thinking about it. I may put on a little short-term trade.
dip on
Thinking
what,
that
crypto or stock?
probably on crypto. Obviously I
Gotcha.
always have my stocks going, but probably something on crypto, maybe with futures or something. Just a little short-term long. I just have a feeling that it's that sell the rumor, buy the news type of
Yeah.
event. I can't get over that feeling that people are afraid. People are more afraid of the news leading up to the news than the actual, when the numbers come out. Then people are like, oh, okay, then they buy back in.
Yeah. In fact, you know what? I don't even wish I would have timed my trip differently. I'm gonna be on a plane tomorrow when the Fed announcement comes out, because you know how that is. Like that first
Yeah.
5-15 minutes, you get crazy volatility. And if we got any kind of like spike down in Bitcoin in that first 5-10 minutes, I'd probably get long there.
Set some limit orders.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, in the morning I could set some limit orders based on a percentage move. I think it could do.
I may actually do that myself. I may set some limit orders for everything from 18 to 20, 18 to like 20, probably starting at like 20,500 and then going down to like 18K. See what
That's
we
something I
can get.
definitely am surprisingly don't leverage often, as limit orders, considering that I've been trading for decades on and off. I think that's why, because like when I was day trading, like you're not really using limit orders. You're just sitting in front of the computer, for the entire market session,
Right.
and trading in and out of things. So that or I have commitment issues. It's probably the latter. At least if you ask the females.
That's what they'll say.
Definitely.
Scaredy cat is a scaredy cat.
Scaredy commitment cat. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of the week, because again, those GDP numbers on Friday. But I still, depending on what happens with GDP, I'm still sticking with my theory about the Fed potentially backing off in September. I think a lot of that is going to come down to the inflation numbers. I think CPI is actually going to back off a little bit. Like I think the July reading that comes out in August will be better than the June, just specifically because gas prices, even just alone, have come down over the course of this month. You know,
True, I've been noticing it.
yeah, like
Down
20, 30
slowly.
cents cheaper,
Yep.
at least something, you know, even more. And that's obviously a
So,
big proponent.
so what do you think? Are you going to revise your September reversal, or do you still think we're going to see the Fed walk back in September?
I mean, oh no, I'm not changing my theory on that. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, it's sheer speculation. If I'm right, that'll be a freaking miracle. But yeah, between the midterm elections and everything else, it depends on the GDP numbers as well. You know, if GDP is bad, right? So let's just say hypothetically, the July and August inflation numbers are showing relief, right? Like inflation is not going up, it's going down. And then the GDP number obviously is bad on Friday. Now you have the ingredients for the Fed to be like, all right, you know, plus pressure from, you know, the White House. Then you have you have the ingredients. But if inflation continues to tick even higher, you know, than prior months, and the GDP number is not terrible, then I don't think you have the ingredients. So, and again, September's the early call. I was mainly more so playing the political card. You know, I think 2023, like early 2023, as soon as they have any room at all where CPI is not basically, you know, with a foot on their throat, I think that's when you see them start easing up. But yeah, if I was a betting man sometime in 2023, I see rate cuts and QE.
You are a betting man. You're an investor.
Yes. So I would not be surprised if like summer 2023, there's rate cuts and QE.
Let's see it. I want the QE. Bring the QE. Bring me the helicopter money. I want it back.
My favorite is spot the CPI announcement candle is a daily chart though. I could spot it way better on an hourly.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens.
I don't even remember. When was the last CPI? A month ago? I don't think it's a big red down one. I think it's one with big wicks. Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I'd have to specifically remember that day. I don't remember when the CPI number even came out last. It's a big red one, huh? Interesting. Oh, that makes sense. I think daily there was volatility spike. Very interesting. Yeah, the dollar gaining so much is definitely not going to be good for GDP. I think that's going to have more impact in the coming quarter than it did this quarter. Because that all just happened recently, you know, and obviously the quarter ended end of June. So a lot of that dollar gain didn't impact too much of this past quarter. I think you're going to see that for this quarter, which, you know, obviously we're just the first month into. In the end, none of it matters because you got to execute. You can have all the right calls, but if you're not executing on them, it doesn't matter. So the real question to ask is, how do I make money off of these ideas? So if you're right, you get paid. But Yeah, you guys got any other questions in the chat? Actually, you know what? I'm the worst. I forgot to even check on I was totally not in the zone today. I totally forgot to check on YouTube. I'm gonna go over to
I think we're
YouTube and
good.
see if you were
We
looking at
got the
YouTube.
biggest. Yeah,
All right.
I think we got all of them.
Yeah. All right,
Easy
cool.
part for me. Just accumulate as possible, as much as possible, and grind. That is that's the key. That's what I'm doing. Keep doing it.
I mean, that's all I'm really doing. I'm just continuing to build the stack. And yeah, no, I'm with you, BTC. Selling is my biggest weakness, especially when it comes to LeoFinance related coins. I like almost feel bad anytime I sell, but all my friendly whales are always selling at the highs and booking big profits. And then the cat's sitting here like, wait, hold on. You guys aren't jammed up. What did I do wrong? Things are good now. I just want to see POLYCUB and CUB prices go higher just so my quote unquote dividends are worth more.
Yeah, the key now is that with the multi-token bridge and everything, that we'll see sustainability get built in from all the revenue. The revenue is ridiculous, so much higher than just kingdoms. So I think once those POLYCUB buybacks start for the Bex POLYCUB, and then once the CUB buybacks start burning CUB, people are gonna flip their sentiment real quick. And the cool thing about the CUB price being this low, I was looking at the buyback figures and projections, is the amount of CUB that's going to be bought back at these lows and then burned is going to be huge. And then we're
I'm
just
looking
removing
forward
all
to
that
it.
CUB. Yeah. And then obviously it has an exponential impact.
So only because like I got the whole recap post written. As far as the buy and burn model for CUB, the buy fees are generated from what are I mean obviously the bridge.
Right.
What else? The V2
So,
vaults.
Yeah, so the V2 vaults generate revenue through those 5 methods of value accrual that we talked about. So you've got the wrapping fees. So there's a 0.5% wrapping fee every time you wrap or unwrap BHBD or Hive. And then you've got the Oracle staking. So for HBD, obviously it stakes it in HBD savings and earns 20%. For Hive, it powers it up into Hive power, and then it earns roughly like 10 to 14%, I would say. Hive is obviously a much more variable number. So you've got those 2 methods of earning, and then you've got arbitrage. So yeah, my free BTC deposit fees go too. Yeah, all the revenue generated by CUB, which is in the form of kingdoms and then those V2 value accrual methods, they all burn CUB. So they just autonomously get deposited to a smart contract, and you'll watch that. So up until this point, we've only had kingdoms really burning CUB, which is kind of a small amount. But now with the multi-token bridge, you're going to see that burn number start to climb exponentially every month. So it's going to be interesting. I think we'll see. I don't know. It's hard to speculate because obviously it hasn't even really been announced yet that the V2 vaults are live. So it's hard to project how much capital is going to get moved into those V2 vaults. But I assume it's going to be a pretty hefty amount. I don't think it's unlikely that we'll see within the next like 30 to 60 days that more than 500,000 CUB gets burned. And over half, and that would be more CUB burned through 1 to 2 months of multi-token bridge revenue than has been burned since the beginning of CUB. So it's going to be pretty incredible to watch. We'll see how that plays out.
Oh, absolutely. And then obviously, what is it? XCUB is in this universe.
Yeah, so we're right now in phase 1. That's the release of the multi-token bridge on CUB and the V2 vaults. So now the V2 vaults are live. Go wrap your HBD and Hive and provide liquidity. Phase 2 and 3 are going to be rolled out, kind of similar to how POLYCUB rolled them out. It'll obviously be a lot faster because we're not designing contracts from scratch this time, but the
obviously
phase 2 and
with-
phase 3 will come.
And then obviously with CUB, then will come governance voting.
Exactly. Yep. XCUB will be launched, and then you'll see both the yield governance and the CUB improvement. So on POLYCUB, it's PIP, POLYCUB Improvement Proposal System. On CUB, it'll be I don't know how you want to pronounce that, but it'll be CIP. So CUB Improvement Proposal System.
Get your sip.
Get your sip.
Sip on.
Sip on
Yeah,
some
so
governance.
Sip or kip, I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm looking forward to governance on CUB, because obviously I have way more weight and stake over there than I do on POLYCUB. So gotta be able to throw a little weight around. Your yield shall be mine.
Yep. Let's see it. It's going to be a fight for yield on CUB.
Loving it. Loving it. So
Speaking
actually, that's
of,
funny.
the last weekly yield governance vote took effect on POLYCUB over the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah. So were there any changes, and what's the easiest way to like see that, or is there a way to even see that in terms of, what's different, or is it more so just remembering, looking at what it was, the day before, and then kind of recognizing it, manually?
Yeah, I mean, as of now, there's no historical view on it. You really just got to kind of look at it. I think we'll probably start putting those in the This Week in Leo posts. We'll just kind of include a little section about the weekly governance votes. Yeah, my free BTC said a weekly post on the changes would be cool. Yeah, we can definitely include it. So yeah, so the yield governance happens every week, and if you voted before, if you've already voted, you don't have to keep voting. So just keep that in mind too. But if you haven't voted yet, make sure you vote. We were just talking before we started recording about how there hasn't been a ton of participation yet in governance. There's been a lot more than last time, but we'll have to see that governance participation go up. It'll be nice.
Yes, based on governance
And
on the new UI.
Next week will be, get my calendar up. Yeah, next week is August 2nd. So we may have some scheduling issues next week. We'll see in the Pseudoverse. We'll either have a different day for the AMA next week, or we may just skip next week and then come back on the next Tuesday. Summer break. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get one day off this summer for the AMA.
Or the masses can hound Neil McSpadden to make himself available.
Yeah.
Y'all want him back. Go after him.
He's lurking right now.
I see. Looking unlikely. So he's in listen mode. So whatever he's doing, he's able to listen, just not participate. That's technically that's going to be me next week. Like I could listen in the background, but there's no way I'm going to be able to participate. So
yeah,
Cat's got some real estate stuff to do up north next week. I will be getting my hands dirty.
So we'll see. I'm trying to hold our team accountable to launching LeoThreads by the 1st of August. So let's see. So potentially, instead of your weekly AMA that week, you will have the LeoThreads update, and you can thread out your wins instead of asking them here. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll have it ready. We are working overtime on it though, so you'll get it in the Sooniverse.
All righty. I think the one soon recap is good enough.
Sweet. Yeah, by the next AMA, whether it's next week or if we skip next week and come back the week after on Tuesday, you should have LeoThreads in your hands, threading things out, microblogging on the Hive blockchain. So it'll be fun.
That would be badass. All righty. Forgive any typos. No proof.
Closing words, Cat.
Just curious to see what happens tomorrow with the Fed, but more so curious to see about the GDP number, because I think that actually is going to have more impact than what the Fed's doing. Because unless the Fed does something out of character, I feel like a lot of the Fed stuff is priced in often. So it shall be interesting. But yeah, when it comes to crypto, I'm just sitting on my hands and waiting to buy again if we get another sell-off. Kind of taking a pretty lazy approach.
See it.
I know you were talking about putting orders in, so
Yeah, I think I'm going to after this. Throw some up there.
well, so that leads to a good question. So I pulled everything I had on exchanges off, like because I had some stuff sitting on like Qcoin because I had limit orders in. So I know you can do limit orders, I think, on like Pancake Swap now, but what do you use? So when you're putting in limit orders, are you still using sexes or are you doing that on dexes?
Sometimes a mix of the two. I still do think sexes kind of win the day when it comes to usability and reliability on those limit orders. Obviously you can also catch those wicks, I think. Yeah, like Neil's saying, the dex limit orders do not work that well. They're not that reliable.
Yeah, that was my concern.
So, you know, in my Switzerland house, they have a computer there with Mandala set up. So
that is true. I forgot about my place in the Netherlands.
yeah, you just take a quick trip there, you know, on your
Quick
private
flight.
jet, on the cat jet.
Exactly. It's no, I borrow the LeoFinance jet.
Yeah, the Leo jet.
It's called Lion 1. And then Lion 2 is like this is the little Gulfstream.
That's funny.
It's parked in the hangar at the LeoFinance compound where
At
the
Leo
mansion,
HQ.
yes, where the mansion is.
Yeah.
And it just got crazy dark outside. I'm like,
Yeah, I saw that.
like, where'd my light go? But coolness.
Sweet.
All right. Well, yeah. So we'll see what happens this week, obviously, with the economic stuff. And if we see you guys next week, it will not be at the normal time. And if not, then
We'll see you at the normal time the week after.
the following week.
At noonish in the Sooniverse.
Indeed.
All right. Thanks for jumping on. We will catch you guys next week or
Until
the
then.
week after.
When CUB 25 cents.
Soon.
The soons.
Soon.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. See ya.
All right. See you later.